Just when you thought your week couldn't get any better, it is another edition of the Weekly Dagger. And now I present your host, BisuDagger. Alright, what's up everybody, and welcome to another week of the Weekly Dagger. This is going to be the Tuesday edition. That's right. And I'm so excited to be casting with you guys today. It is going to be Scan versus eonzerg of the Foreign Edition, weekly number 8. Yes, 8 total weeks so far in the weekly edition. Of course, I've been streaming for a long time since over the summer. But now I've turned it into a weekly edition where I have Foreign and Korean cast Tuesdays and Thursdays. So we've got a little bit of drama to talk about before I go into the cast. Something humongous in the StarCraft community. Pro League has actually been disbanded. It is no longer a thing. Pro League that has been around since 2003, created by the great Emperor Boxer along with his nemesis Yellow. And now that it doesn't exist anymore, there's this whole void. Regardless of whether you're a StarCraft 1 or a StarCraft 2 fan, you've got to be thinking, oh man, this is really tough. To a pill to swallow. It was tough when StarCraft 1 fans saw that Pro League was leaving them, and now StarCraft 2 is going to be going through the same thing. But, you know what? It opens up the telecoms to come back to StarCraft 1. While it may be unreasonable to think that, Samsung Con, or STX, or CJNTS, or OGN might actually get back into StarCraft 1, KT has shown great interest. And of course, then we have the opportunity for SKT to say, hey, I want to rival KT and get involved in that too. So guys, today it will be a best of 9. Scan has to win all 9 as his main race, a Terran player, and eonzerg only has to win 1. So that's what we're going to be dealing with today. eonzerg, can he, as one of the top foreign players and the current state of affairs, can he take out Scan, who has moved to Korea? He's been training for the ASL. He got knocked out in the qualifiers, but he hopes, and he quotes, he hopes that he will play against Bisu in the qualifiers. Whereas a responding post had said to Scan, you want to lose in the qualifiers? I don't think so. Scan is coming with a vengeance in this next ASL. He looked really solid in last week's best of 9. And that, best of 14. I'm sorry. That was him playing off race against Koget. But the stakes are higher here. There's money on the line. All or nothing for either player here. How's it going to play out? Now, one final thing I want to say before I move on to the games is that, Oh, Flash for the Win is here. What's up, man? Okay, just one second. So anyway, I just want to... You made me lose my train of thought. Way to go. Oh, man. But yeah, I was saying that Koget played Scan last week, best of 14, and he managed to win on his 7th game. And also, this best of 9 between Scan and eonzerg, it was casted by Catspaw, a.k.a. I Love Av. And so, if you want to watch his cast, they are available. I don't know where his channel is, but definitely show him some props. He's been a great foreign caster for a long time, and I don't mean to overshadow his casts, but due to requests, I am up here casting. It looks like Flash for the Win might join in with me, so I'm going to go ahead and get on Discord. Meet me in the usual, and let's go from there. Let's see. I'm on the dark mode for Twitch, and I can't read your name because it blends in. Flash for the Win's default text is blue, but the blue is so weird on the dark text that I do not like it. Actually, we would have to share up our screen and get on an Icy Cup, and I'm not connected. I'm not set up with my internet good to do that probably right now. Let's see. Decisions. Whether I add Flash for the Win in or not. I'm going to have to take my long cable out and extend it all the way across my house. Because I don't like to stream without my cable plugged in if we're going to patch up with other people. You know what? Flash for the Win, if you can join me on Thursday. Join me on Thursday. I'm going to go ahead and jump into this best of 9 now. because I'm already ready to get in on it. I don't want to waste any more time. But there is a Korean cast with Mind of Zero, Best, and like Effort, I think, are the four players that are going to be available on Thursday for some pretty solid games of 5 in total. Oh, and I see that flash for the win. Can't join then. We'll figure it out later. Let me go into the first game. I've got to get it ready now. Let me go and switch over to our main game screen. Good, I have that hidden from you. Don't want you guys to see where we are at in terms of replays here. And I'm just going to go ahead and load up the first one. Flash for the win. I'm sorry again, buddy. I would love to cast with you, but I don't have my internet set up properly. So, yeah, take care and watch the VODs if you want. Alright, guys, we're going to be going into game number 1. This is going to be Scan versus eonzerg. And eonzerg going to be spawning at the top left-hand corner. That's him with his creep on Fighting Spirit. And down at the bottom right-hand corner, it is going to be the Terran player Scan. So we saw a lot of Fighting Spirit. And the last best of 14, because I believe until the last 3 games it was all Fighting Spirit, and so maybe that's what we're seeing here too. So let me bring it up. Yeah, one more thing here. Okay, so here we go. So yes, now Scan down at the bottom right, and eonzerg at the top left. Always most important. And I had that on fast as I was doing my introduction here anyway, so it's not like you guys missed more than like 10 seconds on the screen. Of course. Alright, let me make sure everything else is good to go. It seems like the audio and the video should be nice. Alright, thank you guys. I really appreciate this. Now, the foreign edition, I think this is the 4th week now that I've been able to include this. It's really cool. Well, I've done the Crispy Cup. I've done some expert plays from eonzerg versus Arc Neon. And of course, last week's best of 14. So it's been an insane past couple weeks here, and the games couldn't be getting any better. I'm actually overwhelmed with the quality and the entertainment that I've been seeing from the foreign players. I cast really primarily, probably 90% of my casts and my career have been Korean games, maybe even higher than that. Of course, I put in an 18-hour IC Cup casting day, and so that really racked up that statistic there. So we see that there's still no spawning pool. The initial drone here for the 12 hatch style build is going to be coming out. And yeah, just remember, this is a TVZ. And so it's definitely possible that we could see a 2-base Muta type play on Fighting Spirit. That would be reasonable for us to assume. But right now, we're going to be seeing this hatchery come down. And then following that will be the spawning pool and extractor. Whoa, randomly grabbed my screen here. Let me lock in my mouse so that way I am caught in the screen here. Awesome. And so the SUV is going to be scouting up to the top right. Meanwhile, Scan here is building the barracks on the top ground. It is so crazy to transition from last week, if you guys watched that with me, because Scan was playing Zerg. He was playing off race, and now we really get to see how he's going to do things and approach this this format as a Terran player. Because you still have to anticipate, even best of 9, while there is going to be 5 less total games, that there could be a significant amount of cheese. But both these players opening standard, and I think they're just going to really test how good each other is going into the mid game and playing a heavy macro game. Scan, oh so good though, getting this SUV in here, scouting up the top left, gonna see the timing of this spawning pool. Another hatchery coming down, and this is really looking pretty unusual here. It's going heavy larva early, and later extractor. That macro hatchery came first, sparing that 100 minerals from building the extractor to actually go into this faster hatchery, which is just about a quarter way finished up here. Skin, on the other hand, he sees that this is 3 hatcheries early on. He's going to be building this command center because it's really important for him to expand regardless of the opening that he sees here, and knows that because of the spawning pool not coming so early, there's not going to be this huge threat of Zerglings. Of course, he's got 4 Marines out, and I would be surprised. Actually, what we saw with Koget last week is that while he did maybe build a supply depot out here, he didn't bunker up well. Or else he didn't build bunkers often. And what we're seeing in here, the supply depot come up, the 4 Marines can jump into a bunker if Scan decides to be protective, and Scan, when he played Zerg, would often build an early sunken or 2 in that game, so that way he can defend himself against cheese, early aggression. But right now, maybe he's just going to try and get away with as minimal as possible. You see a couple of supply depots down at the bottom. The Terran Academy is on the way. The engineering bay with the +1 upgrade already started, and everything's looking really solid so far. So the extractor at the natural base, the extractor at the main base, and this is all looking pretty standard to go for that 2-base Spire play as the lair does progress inside the main base here. You can see that the earlier hatchery allows all this spare larva for eonzerg to drone up very, very quickly. And you know, it doesn't really set back this mutaplay, the Spire, too far. Maybe 20 seconds, 25 seconds, but it's really nice to get those additional drones out of that larva that just starts popping out of that additional macro hatchery. Meanwhile, you can see that a good amount of SCVs already down at this natural base. 27 so far. The macro is solid in the early game for Scan, focusing on the only few mechanics that he actually has to concentrate on. The Scan underway too. I like that. As soon as the Academy comes down, then he can just kind of get a quick and easy scout on his opponent if needed. eonzerg, on the other hand, is trying to poke around with his initial Zergling here. Only 4 Zerglings out on the map, so nothing to really deal with bio if Scan had done a sort of Mind-style early bio force where he gets an additional, maybe 1 more medic here and then starts to push out. And even if Scan does decide to push out with this, I think as long as eonzerg uses his Zerglings appropriately, constantly, you know, bounces back and forth here, and sees when Scan does move out, that he drops down maybe an additional sunken colony. He does have 1 precursor sunken colony here that's going to put him in a good spot. Oh, I like the poking. I like the poking. He doesn't even lose a Zergling. So really nice, brave, just jab at Scan, trying to pick off an SCV. The SCV just taking a little bit of damage here, 10 health in total. I'm surprised that I managed to find the SCV that had gotten hit. But Scan does go ahead and defend pretty appropriately here. 4 medics so far. Let's see where that Spire's sitting. Where is that Spire timing? Okay, so the Hydralisk dead. Okay, the Spire's done. Not Spider, obviously. The Spire has completed here. It's sitting by the macro hatchery, and then a Hydralisk den is going to be following up, which is obviously good to work towards that lurker tech and expansions behind us when eonzerg does finally decide to go for a 3rd base. But here, Scan is going to try and find that timing. He's going to move out possibly as the mutas start to spawn and race their way across the map too. eonzerg, he wants to be aggressive with his mutas, which is why he dropped down the creep colonies early. So he's got 2 additional creep colonies here, and that's going to help him with his defense. So even if he doesn't do a lot of damage against, say, this early bioforce that's pushing across, he can just go ahead and void it altogether and start looking for the holes in Scan's defense. 1, 2, 3, 4 turrets. And I love these turrets. They have a good layout of this natural base. So important that he has that on lockdown. And only 2 turrets here. So I think maybe inside the main base, looking on the north side, there is the possibility of some damage. If eonzerg can work his way over there, it's going to come down to a beautiful, beautiful flock of muta scouting here if he's going to be able to get this done. The initial muta attack, a nice little glaive hit right there. Oh, going right into the middle of that honeypot, and he is going to get hit up. So the muta's taking some damage where I'm sure eonzerg didn't really get hit that way. Oh, again he loses a muta. Scan putting his, the pressure on real hardcore right now. 2 big mistakes right now. The muta count going down to 7 from 9, and that is not good. It looks like this is going to be an empowered push by Scan as he does go forward. Meanwhile, look, he does scan. He does identify the creep colonies. If he stims forward and tries to pressure and push in right now, he might be able to win out. But as the scan goes down, eonzerg's so smart and intuitive here. He's just going to go ahead and push those into sunken colonies and hopes that he can actually finish them up before the Marines do make it across the map. They're going to be poised at the bridge. Are they going to be able to push across in time and get the damage off? 1 creep colony can still morph into a sunken if it needs to. I love this though. Scan getting a quick pick off on the Overlord here. We can see that the muta is still down at the bottom, throwing a little bit of threat here, but still not too big of a threat. I mean, 7 mutas with all the turrets that are out there. The re-macro, these Marines, 37 with 6 medics. This is just absolutely crazy. Meanwhile, the SCV scouts at the top right to make sure that there isn't a base over there, but there is a base down at the bottom left. That's what this means. If no base at the top right, oh, which the hatchery does go down, but that's not going to trick Scan. I'm sorry there. Misclick. That's not going to distract Scan. He's going to see that the hatcheries there is going to get canceled. He's going to run that drone away, but a Stin Marine, he is on the prowl, going to try and pick it off. Meanwhile, the SV gets picked off by the mutas that headed up towards the top right. The hatchery is going to be on the way, but where are the lurkers? Okay, lurkers going to be making it on the top area here, and let's see if we can look at the scan energy. 118 and 83, so just about roughly 4 scans available here by the time he does want to push up. That's 1 of 4 right now. These lurkers are going to have to go for a huge hold. Meanwhile, there's still Marines pressuring on the left side too. Scan, is he going to try and look for some sneaky opportunities? Maybe try and get to the left here to try and pick off one of the lurkers. It's so hard to get within range without going up this ramp to pick off any of those units. Meanwhile, the prowling mutalist, one actually got picked off. I wonder where that happened, but now we're seeing that only 6 mutas are on the map. eonzerg, he's got a lot left here, but he's got a hard hold to still come. The hatchery, it's almost completed now. Let's look at all the lurkers at the front here. This is the haymaker right now. If this tank can get a lot of shots off, but the lurker spines actually hit this initial siege tank. The lurker's trying to get in a good position, but the nice scan here is going to allow the Marines to push in and pick off these lurkers so quickly. Still, even if you can see lurkers, they deal out so much damage. But this is brutal. This tank still hasn't been picked off. If only there were mutas that were able to run in within view and quickly pick off this tank. Scan's got to be careful. He knows that these tanks are integral for the survival of this push. Another sunken happens to go down. All the lurkers have been cleared out. Medics doing the full duty to repair. Meanwhile, look inside this base. We've got full mining again. 3 SCVs here. It looks like almost a little bit of a delay glitch there by the way the turrets are laid out. But no one's going to hassle Scan for that. 37 SCVs in total. I'm actually surprised that he only has 37 SCVs. I'm kind of looking for damage here, but I think it's because of the timing of this push. It's so strong that he's been making so many Marines and switching over to tanks. He hasn't had time to really SCV up the way you would have expected. This push right here, though, it could go ahead and break. Oh, let's look at top right. I see a little bit yellow. It looks like the dropship's going to be coming down. How many units are going to be able to get out? It looks like with the medic down, the Marines are going to be able to stim and get a lot of damage done. Meanwhile, inside this natural base here, the stim in with these units on the left side of the map. A lot of damage coming down, but the lurker's going for the hold here too. Oh, Scan, you dirty dog, going down with a few more units one more time, trying to engage at the top. Again, he's actually got a dropship coming inside the main base too. This is going insane right now. Flash level play from Scan right here, and he is attacking on all fronts, getting a lot of damage done. He might be able to take out these drones. Meanwhile, at the top right, there aren't many drones that can mine for this location. The Night Scout's still alive, though, so the defense might be there. Looks like the evolution chamber getting a little bit low here. The Hydralisk dead, only 49 health. If the Marines were able to, they could take care of it, but instead they're going to focus on the Evo chamber, which actually may be more significant here. It is going to go down. But the hatchery at the natural base has been taken out. The lurker trying to kill these units off as efficiently as possible here. But this Marine, this Marine got massive heals from this medic. That was beautiful healing there. GG! It's going to be eonzerg down 1-0 to Scan, who played a masterful macro game to start this off. Alright, folks, let me go ahead and update the side of the screen here and get this score to 1-0. Guys, if you're coming in, you're confused about the best of 9 format, eonzerg only has to win 1 to win this series. I cast the best of 9s up to the first win. So even if all 9 games end up being played, I am going to go until either Scan wins all 9 or eonzerg wins 1 for the sake of me being able to get some rest tonight before work tomorrow. Alright, that's enough of a water break. Let's keep going. Only 12 minutes and 30 seconds, but that was an action-packed game. I really enjoyed that. I have 9 replays in my pack, so and they may have actually played all 9 regardless of who won. But just because I don't want to keep toggling on and off my screen, I'm just going to let you know. I get 9 regardless. I got 14 from the Kogut versus Scan match, as you can see here. And that ended in 7 games. So you can watch that from last week's cast if you wanted. So this is not a guarantee that it went all 9. Just so you don't have any spoilers here. Oh, look at this. So, unlike last week's Best of 14, which was all Fighting Spirit all the way up to the first 7 games that I did cast, we're going to be spawning on Circuit Breaker today. And with that in mind, let me see if I can actually switch the colors here. These are not favorable regardless. We'll just go with this. We're going to have Scan, the Terran player, spawning at the top left-hand corner and down at the bottom left. We will have eonzerg. eonzerg. How about that, guys? I hope you guys are having a great Tuesday, ready for some StarCraft, and I hope you guys have been enjoying my casts. I've now been doing 2 a week pretty consistently, Tuesdays and Thursdays. People have been raving about the King of the Hill games that I casted last week, and they were so much fun. The Korean edition last week topped the charts, was crazy good games, and I feel like if you want to watch some good Korean StarCraft and you're feeling withdrawal from the ASL games, go ahead and watch those. And if not, come this Thursday, watch me live. We'll have a lot of fun then. Okay, as we see the opening up, that initial Overlord, not going to be some sort of cheesy, fishy 9-pool build coming out, as we do see the Overlord popping very shortly here. Meanwhile, Scan also going pretty standard with the supply depot in the back and everything looking normal for both opponents. eonzerg getting the upper hand with that scout up towards the top, going to be able to identify his opponent very quickly. All right, guys. All right, we're going to see a few more drones going to pop out. It's probably going to be this standard 12 hatch opening. And I wonder what eonzerg's going to do differently to give him an edge against Scan. Because in the last game, he went for the earlier hatchery over gas. But the problem was, he didn't get any damage done with his mutas when they finally did pop up. So maybe that 25 seconds that he delayed to get his Spire by going for the faster hatchery played into a role where he didn't have the timing window to get into the main or the natural base and try and get SCV damage done. Other than that, I feel like Scan just had some really good engagements with his mutas, with his Marines. A couple mutas got picked off early, and that was pretty key to just shutting down eonzerg from the early to mid game and going into the late game. Okay, so the barracks is completed. We've got 2 supply depots on the map. Pretty standard opening, and we're gonna see the natural command center coming up for Scan here. Now Scan, he skipped going for a bunker on Fighting Spirit in the last map. I think that you have to go for a bunker on this map. Even if you go for a supply depot, it's just such a wide opening, and I feel like eonzerg may want to be more aggressive with his zerglings early on. He actually only built 4 zerglings, 4, in the last game before his mutas came out. Now you can see other players that find more success in going for 6, 8, or even 10 zerglings early on, and finding a way to poke in, pick off a few SCVs here, maybe doing a split where you have 4 here and 4 here, and you can run them up inside the base to get some damage done. So we're going to have to see what kind of early aggression tactics this eonzerg can pull off to beat Scan, who in his main race is able to compete and do really well in the ASL qualifiers. For those of you who don't remember, that's the Africa Star League. Those of you who are wondering, this is cast from replays, not live, purely because we don't want to lag those players. But this is going to be a live cast, obviously, of the best of 9 between Scan and eonzerg. So eonzerg building pretty four zerglings pretty quickly here. And guys, you're on game number 2. If eonzerg wins this game, the entire best of 9 has been won. It is the foreign versus Korean version of best of 9s, where Koreans have to win all of the games in order to get the entire prize pool. All right, 3 SCVs sitting on the ramp, a couple more popping out. This is a faster barracks than we saw in the last game. This is a pretty quick second racks, and now we're seeing the Terran Academy come out, which means that we're going to have a heavier amount of bioforces with medics and stim. Instead of what Scan opted for last time, was less Marines early on to be able to get the engineering bay with the +1 attack, which led to a good mid-game, early to mid-game defense against the mutas that came out for eonzerg. eonzerg has 8 zerglings. This is what I was talking about earlier. is I was anticipating eonzerg not going for just 2 to 4 zerglings early on, but doubling that amount. Maybe even getting up to 10 zerglings to try and find a way to get through the shenanigans of this front base. So this early Bioforce is going to be really tough, even with 1 medic. I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, okay, so two medics pop out right now, and this is looking, oh, these lings are actually really huge. They have to stay alive because eonzerg is just realizing how powerful Scan is early in the game. Koga beat Scan in game number 7 last week with a similar build to this, where he got these 2 medics and these marines early on, and oh god, now the fire bats are out, so this is real. Okay, coming out at the front, there's only 1 creek colony that's already completed. This isn't even a sunken, so the sunkens are going to be really late here. Both of them need to be morphed, but a lot of zerglings on the map, 18 zerglings in total. And if you're like me, when I like to play zerg, I actually like to leave my zerglings out here and have my my zerglings backstab and run in as the Terran player tries to stim in and engage on the sunken colonies. That's generally just the tactics that I like to go for here. Now, eonzerg is actually using his lings on the aggressive end here. Knowing that the bunker isn't finished, he's going to try and break this wall here and pick off as many marines as possible. This is what I was saying. You can't skip the bunker on Circuit Breaker. You have to build it because it's such an integral portion of the wall. It helps keep the marines alive and allows more surface area to be covered. But no damage was done here. This was a great defense because stim and medics were up early and the bioforces were built to such a great number here. But the sunken colonies already down here at the bottom right. This is great foresight for eonzerg, who knows that he needs to have these static defenses while his lings are out across the map. But these speedlings are going to be coming in very shortly here. They're going to engage this army, and he should be able to hold. Only 1 of the sunkens goes down. The firebat not going to be strong enough here. Is it? Oh, wow. What a defense here. The firebat, it has gone immortal here. But the drones have to come in to take that pick off. And that firebat is done. Oh, and so the medics are just going to have to head out. Meanwhile, another remacro of units are going to be heading down. Where's Scan going to head his next set of units? Now we can see here that eonzerg has finally been able to get his mutas out. He sacrificed the muta timing to be able to go for additional lings and deal with this bioforces early on. The bioforces, though, they weren't able to bust this right side due to the double sunken colony defense. And this triple sunken colony defense will almost, pseudo triple sunken colony defense is going to be good enough to keep that natural base alive. Alright, we're going to be seeing the mutas start to head out right now. Maybe they can get some backstab action. Let's look at the turret situation. 4 turrets. I like this. This is similar to his game on Fighting Spirit. And 1 turret here, 2 turrets. Okay, I was going to say he's 1 turret short inside the main base, but he does have that 2nd turret coming up, and that's going to be huge. Look at these mutas picking off an SCV. A nice little kill here. eonzerg trying to get little victories that he can. Now look at this. Sunken colonies are on the way, but there's no lurkers on the high ground. The mutas are going to have to split as fast as they can from the top left down to the bottom right. They're going to have the best micro possible. Can eonzerg pull it off? Scan. He is ready to try and go for the bust again. So many marines in here. Remember, these marines delayed their +1 attack to go for the faster stim and fire bat configuration here. Without that +1 attack, they're not quite as stout against these mutas. And the mutas come in for a great attack here. With the sunken colonies, he's been able to hold this off, and a great defense one more time. No damage taken from eonzerg, only stacked defenses taken out, and eonzerg's playing the game of his life right now. His defenses early on have been immaculate and nothing less. In fact, he's building a queen's nest. So brave to build the queen's nest down at the bottom right at his 3rd base location instead of inside of his natural ore main. Another set of units coming out. Meanwhile, still no +1. Let's see if we can find that EE bay. That +1 timing, it's so close to being completed, and that's going to make these marines much more stout, much more viable when trying to combat against these mutas here. The mutas have no upgrades, but they are in a good flock situation. 10 in total. And it seems that eonzerg's going to be flying from behind one more time. More sunken colonies are going to be up. This is really nice by Scan, this constant pressure to force those sunken colonies out. But I think that the bio losses that he's been taking has really been calling it a draw here. And I think that eonzerg's playing in a great game. Now the Queen's Nest is done, so the Hive is going to be on the way too. And what kind of play is going to come out of this? He could go Defiler, he could go Guardian later after his mutas are no longer needed on the workforce. And now we're going to see the Lurker's going to be coming out here. The Lurker timing a little bit later too. Everything's just slightly behind in tech, but that's okay because of how well eonzerg's been playing against this entire force. Now the scans, at least one scan already ready and available. 2 scans around there, so we're going to say 3, close to 4 again as this major push is going to be heading towards this natural base. This is what was so tough for eonzerg to deal with in the last game. This 2-tank timing. When the 2 tanks come in here, how are you going to be able to bust effectively? But think about it this time. Last game, there were only 6 mutas and they were really well damaged. Now you have 9 mutas coming in here along with the Lurker. So much more damage can come down here. Can he get the tanks? Oh, a little bit of a hit does come off here, but the mutas are just going to have to draw themselves back. Let's look at the tank sitch. 2 tanks looking pretty healthy right now. That's just a group of overlords down at the bottom right. Just had to check that out. Meanwhile, this base looking good. The extractor coming in here too. Oh, okay. So it looks like the Lurkers did get picked off on this bridge, kind of opening up that pathway for more Marines to reinforce possibly another tank. This is really bad. eonzerg, he accidentally micros his mutas right into that top force of Marines and taking way more hits than he wants to. GG! Oh boy, GG. Wow. Oh, that's going to be unfortunate for eonzerg. It's going to be 2-0. And Scan playing a great aggressive game there. I thought eonzerg defended well, but I guess when it comes to that tank timing, it's really hard to hold off. Unless you pick off those tanks right away, then you're in some major trouble. And you got to get some nice Lurker hits or glaive hits with your mutas. All right, let's see who's in the chat. Arta Turtle, welcome. Arta Turtle, I am such an idiot. I still haven't uploaded those replays or given them to Sele. Please, if you're still around after this cast, remind me, and I will do that today. But as soon as I started this cast, I was like, oh man, I got to get this replay. So if you guys don't know, I am giving my replays, all the Korean replays that I get from my Thursday casts, which means Zero, Best, Bisu, Flash, all effort, all those players that you see me cast. I'm going to be allowing those replays to be put on Icy Cup so you guys can have them to play with, master their builds, and learn from. So I will try and remember. It's okay, Arta Turtle, if you're not here. Cat Camera Bell, welcome. Thank God SE2 is dead. You know what? Just Pro League, and it's a real sad thing. All of us really hold Pro League dear to our hearts. And regardless of whether it was StarCraft 1 or StarCraft 2, there were a lot of players that we love that transitioned over there. A player that I actually really learned to love that joined SKT Classic, who used to be a Terran player, switched over to Protoss. You know, I really appreciate him too. Potato Donut, what's up? How many games tonight? There will be a total of 9 games if Scan doesn't lose 1. This is a best of 9. But if eonzerg wins one game, then this is all over. And Scan's efforts are for naught. Last week it was a best of 14 between Koget and Scan. Yes, 14. But only 7 games were played as Koget was able to defeat Scan while he was playing his off race. Okay. And, oh, I see someone shouting out to Fantasy StarCraft. Guys, if you don't know, I used to be the one who ran Fantasy StarCraft on Team Liquid. Boy, was that a load of work. But I loved it. I loved being a part of that scene. eonzerg versus Scan, game number 3. Let's stir it up now. Alright, guys. At the top right-hand corner, we are going to have eonzerg, who is down 2-0. And it looks like we have returned to Fighting Spirit. Meanwhile, at the top left-hand corner, we are going to have the Terran player Scan, the Korean, versus the Foreign Hope. I went into seizure mode. That's what you try and do to like give you like cool, spiffy camera introductions. You just try and hit the keys all around to make it look interesting. Guys, if you're new to my cast, welcome. I am BisuDagger. I have casted the Africa Star League, the Kondu Star League, the Vance Star League, the Sonic Star League 11, Sonic Star League 12, Sonic Star League 10, Sonic ranking tournaments 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, and 8. And so if you are new to my cast, I welcome you. But I've been doing this for about half a decade, maybe more now, and it is quite a blast. One thing that I don't generally do a lot, because I named off a lot of Korean leagues, is actually cast from replays. So I've kind of spent the last 4 to 5 weeks trying to get my cast from replay skill a lot better, you know, showing off a lot more detail, not missing as many things on the screen, because when you have players like Shine, who are actually the observers, they're very good at seeing everything that's going on, knowing what's most important here. So this has been a cool growing experience for me, and it actually makes me that much better as a caster. And if I miss anything, or if you feel like I should be pointing something out, let me know. And if you have a question, I'll try to engage in that discussion and let you know what's going on. Yeah, observing and casting at the same time, but who knew that I can use my hands and run my mouth as much as possible? It's definitely a skill that apparently I've had. I've been talking my whole life. It's something that I love to do. So we can see from Scan's opening here, he's got his initial barracks, the 2 supply depots, no, he's just got 1 supply depot done right now. Meanwhile, looking inside this base, and let's bring this up to fastest speed, of course. When I come into this replay, sometimes it doesn't auto set. So 12 hatch going to be opening up again for eonzerg, who's not going to be opting for that faster 9 pull. Now remember, in PvZ is where you will see 9 pull a lot more common. It just makes sense to go for 12 hatch in TVZ. You really need the economic opening, you need the faster larva, and you need all of that available to you. In fact, you need a pretty fast 3rd hatchery too in this matchup here. Oh, I have my beautiful husky who just walked into the room. One of the BisuDaggers here, or BisuDaggers, I'm sorry, who's joining in my cast. I'll probably have to let her outside eventually. Oh, look at this! Look! Look! The SUV taking some hits here. eonzerg trying to get some early kills, and yeah, you know, maybe he's gonna get some damage done. Taking it down to 14 health. He will regen that health. The drone doesn't have to worry, because it is a wonderfully built bioorganism here, and the 30 health SUV just going to return to its workforce too. Okay, so now we do see that the additional 2 supply depots are done, the barracks is there, and the command center should be on its way very shortly. So we've seen a couple different configurations from Scan, and the first game we saw that he opened up with a barracks and then a very fast engineering bay to get for the +1. And the next game that we saw, it was fast 2 racks with the academy to supplement, followed up with barracks and stim. Followed up with firebat and stim. And that was a pretty aggressive opening that eonzerg dealt with for the most part relatively well. But here we are seeing a different scenario where, like mine would do in a TVZ, sending out Marines early on, even if it doesn't make sense to send out your Marines. Sometimes you can really throw off a Zerg player by just sending 3 Marines without a medic. The 4th one going to be following up here. Meanwhile, let's look inside the base of eonzerg. He does have the spawning pool done. He is mining from the gas. He's got his macro on the way. But these initial 3 Marines might be able to actually pick off a drone. Oh, this is going to be huge. He's getting behind this sweet spot of the mineral line to try and get a kill off if he can. A couple of the Zerglings go down. They don't engage really well. And this 60 health SUV is actually going to be enough of a barrier to force eonzerg to pull his drones back from the mineral line. And this is just going to be delayed mineral income, which is so important early on in this game. Eventually, these units are going to go down. A decent amount of Zerglings do get killed off. I love the positioning behind this extractor. I mean, that was Scan's whole hope, is that he could get his few units down there without them getting killed off. And so methodically, he was able to accomplish that. Okay, let's look at here. The bunker's coming up earlier. And I love the supply depot bunker. Because when I play Terran, I can't handle Zerglings getting up this ramp. And once Zerglings get up, even with Marines in their range, it can be really tough to track them down and can be a huge distraction for someone who's not an S-class player like, you know, I was going to say Scan, but Scan's pretty much an A-class player in Korea. He does pretty well. But, you know, even Flash level, if Zerglings running around in your base can be really tough. Supply Depot, Bunker, pretty much takes care of that situation, takes your Marines away from that risk of being able to pick off. And 4 Zerglings here for eonzerg. And this is what he did in the first game too on Fighting Spirit, is opted for 4 Zerglings instead of the 8 to 10 that he needed in the last game, and that's going to be fine. Another barracks is coming up. The engineering bay with the faster +1 has started its upgrade, and we can see that the Comstat stations are on the way too. This is a very, very similar game, again, to game number 1. I like that eonzerg tries to poke in here because he wants to see if he can identify the unit count and what the composition is. Still no medics. I mean, that's a huge piece of information, is that medics haven't been built yet. Why? Well, it's going to be 5 racks build, and 5 racks is going to allow for serious aggression and massive defense against mutas. In fact, mutas can't do a lot against 5 racks, and you can actually sacrifice building turrets. Now, Scan has built 4 or 5 turrets inside of his natural base in every game. I believe it was 4, and then 2 up here. And I would imagine 2 here and maybe 2 to 3 instead of the 4 turrets that he would usually build. Because he does have 5 racks, he doesn't need as many static defense. Okay, so this is going to be a little bit different, guys. I was wondering how long it was going to take for eonzerg to just skip over the Spire, or I'm sorry, skip over mutas, even though he does have this initial Spire here, which was probably scanned or scouted out. Instead, he's going for this fast lurker tech, and this is going to be great. Lurker tech's so important here. Oh, look at that! How did these links get through here? No, oh my god! He slipped through there. Someone buttered up these Zerglings, and they just were able to elusively get through that main, or that initial wall here, and up inside the main base, even with a second bunker available. Okay, the Marines are going to be pushing down across to the right side. eonzerg, he does have a 3rd hatchery that is finally coming up. He will be able to defend it with lurkers when he needs to. But these faster lurkers on the map, they can provide some pretty good defense, but some pretty good offense if they're able to hold and get some pretty sick kills off. Scan is going to have to use scans very, very effectively here. All right. Let's see here. So double mining from these extractors. We can see that the evolution chamber on the way too. It's gonna be a complete skip of mutas and just completely Hydra forces here to defend. And in fact, I guess not Hydras. It's gonna be pure lurkers because the Hydra numbers are gonna be so minimal. You see 39 drones, and actually this worker count for eonzerg is really, really good for this time in the game. 43 SCVs, so keeping the worker count similar to Terran, which can just constantly macro from the 2 command centers. Okay, so this is what I was talking about. When you have the 5 racks, you don't need as many turrets. So you're going to see 2 turrets inside this base and only 1 turret. I'm actually rather surprised. I think he did cancel 1, but he knows that he doesn't need them except for detection against the lurkers. And so that's why he's just going to be sacrificing building those static defenses. All right. Let's see what we have here. Hive Tech almost completed. The Queen's Nest already done. An additional macro hatchery coming up inside this main base. Trying to get to as many hatcheries as possible here. And still sitting at 38 drones. So it looks like the droning has stopped for eonzerg, and it's going to be all about building a military power to defend against this push. This is going to be you know, just a medium push, I would say. Not too many Marines. Oh, nice pickoffs here with that initial lurker. Just 1 lurker sitting on hold. That was really sneaky. And it got a few Marine kills, and it's going to push Scan back, which means that even these lurkers here on the high ground aren't going to have to do anything. Still, 3 bunkers. Knowing that it is so important for him to hold this front line here, and he could scan when he needs to and doesn't need a turret, Scan has done a really good job of making sure he is well defended in case eonzerg went for heavy lurker aggression instead of this passive lurker defense that he's going for now. Okay, look at this. An initial militia of units going to be pushing out for eonzerg, trying to get on this high ground. This is that third base location that Terran would move to eventually. Scan has a ton of units out on the map here. Again, like I said, he went for 5 racks, but now he's following it up behind with the mech upgrades. Going to be able to just pump additional minerals into vultures, and vultures are going to do a great job with their spider mines to start laying out the map for the mid-game transition into mech. Look at these lurkers coming from the back here. Great job by eonzerg one more time. Scan's forces are actually really small, and he doesn't have much left. He's going to possibly try to wrap around. No, if he wanted to, he could have gone up this ramp. This is what we're looking for here. The lurkers and the links going up, trying to clog back this back door here and picking off as many units as he can. The medics are actually going to be pretty hard to pick off because they'll just selfishly heal each other and then just never die. Meanwhile, it looks like another stream of Marines with no medics coming in here. What's the vulture count here? We're looking at only 3 vultures around the map, and it looks like a possible expansion command center at this 9 o'clock location. Now, that's pretty smart by Scan. He might be able to just sneak away this additional expansion without eonzerg knowing that the command center is going to be going up. The Scan going down, though. The lurkers do get picked off on the high ground. Maybe eonzerg showed his hand a little bit too strongly there because he does lose those lurkers in a very effective manner from Scan. Scan's got his units gathering up right inside this middle again. And we can see that the Defiler tech has already finished up. Let's see if we can find that Defiler mound consumed just about to finish up. And we will see this Defiler catapult itself from the 100 energy to 200 very shortly here. Look at that, 150 just eating its own brood as it prepares to defend against this push. The initial Dark Swarm does come up. Science vessels are out and about. Going to take a little bit more energy before the science vessel is going to be able to irradiate, so that's just going to allow Scan to go for the push down to the bottom right at an exposed 4th base location. This is going to be huge. The initial Scan coming down here too. I like, even though that the science vessel is here, that the Scan does come down, and these Marines really nicely spread out are going to stim in. Oh, this is really bad for eonzerg. He's going to lose a few of the Maynarding drones here going over towards that mineral base location here. The hatchery is going to go down, and these Marines are going to have some trouble here trying to bust up this ramp, though. The Dark Swarm ready with the lurkers to defend. Meanwhile, is there going to be a counterattack of units? The 9 o'clock base is coming up. This command center almost done. Has eonzerg sniffed this out, trying to catch reinforcements down at the left side here. Scan doing another stim push, and he does have full vision of these lurkers, along with the 3 science vessels now that have procured themselves inside this game. You can see that there are only 3, though. If Scourge hits do come off, the Spire is ready. If Scourge hits do come down, oh, looks like fast units here. Yes, we have identified where the Scourge are going to be coming down. Are the Marines going to be able to detect it? Or is the hit going to happen? Oh, there's nothing to defend! Get him, eonzerg! Get him! The Forward Hope taking out one of the science vessels. Getting that countdown, so important here. But there has been another science vessel that has been made. Are there 2 starports? Yeah, there are 2 starports here. Because he got back up to 4 science vessels, even though he lost 1. Simple math tells us that he is growing those science vessels quickly now, preparing himself for a strong mid-game. Down at the bottom left, the command center is being built here too. So Scan wants to grow his economy as much as he can. eonzerg trying to go for initial push out. He does have a Dark Swarm defense as he does come out here. And Irradiate does go down. 2 Irradiates. You can see the blinking from these science vessels, making it so strong here. Oh, he doesn't get the Defiler. He wasted the Irradiates on the lurkers. And in fact, Plague going down here too. The medics are going to have to go into full frontal force here, trying to heal them up as fast as possible. And down at the bottom left, so many SCVs heading down here. The SCV count up to 58. In fact, the SCV count could be even better, but still, yeah, 58 SCVs, not so bad. We see that the hatchery is coming down here, 49 drones, and I'd say that the worker count is still relatively low as we enter the late game here. It's going to be so important for eonzerg to find another macro rotation of drones as he does get these additional bases. Look at all these Scourge that have been built up here. Is he going to be able to find out these science vessels here? So many science vessels sitting at the right. He does cancel the hatchery one more time. He's not going to be able to take this 4th base location that he wanted. Only the 3 o'clock location is going to be able to go up. The extractor does finish, and he's just going to have to lose those 100 minerals instead of going for the refund here. You can see that they have Zerglings trying to poke in, go for the distraction as another plague does go down. A real nice plague, and now the Defiler is going to be running away. So many Scourge coming in here. The Science Vessels, all three go down, and a swing and a hit as eonzerg is trying to crush this late game army that is continuing to grow for Scan. We can see that the Vulture count sitting at 4. Where? Oh my God, guys. We have the physics lab. We have battle cruisers that are on the map. Where are these battle cruisers? Can we find them? We'll look for them in just a second here. Want to make sure that we haven't missed anything. This Scourge going in one more time here. Lurkers coming out in the middle map, trying to be sneaky here. Where are they, guys? We're looking. We know that they exist. But meanwhile, we see that Lings are coming down here with a Lurker. Oh, so vicious, so vicious. There are 2 battle cruisers, guys. Keep that in mind. Here they are! Here they are! I looked for the slowest moving white that we could find, and they are sitting out here in the middle of the map. They are starting to push forward. So many Scourge will be needed to take these out. Hydras, they can pick off battle cruisers, but they will be really inefficient. It's actually going to come down to beautiful Scourge hits. And can Scan just take this game right now? There's so many Marines that are going to be stimming up here trying to take out this natural base. Where's the Defiler? Where's the Dark Swarm? Dark Swarm's needed to deal with this. If he doesn't have a Defiler, this is going to be game. Another Scorch hit goes down. More Science Vessels taken out. Dropships inside the main base to support these battle cruisers. That's what I was saying here. If the battle cruisers are alone, they will die off. But now it looks like eonzerg might end up losing because the battle cruisers have the support of the bio forces on the ground. The double dropship play so strong here. It's not quite over yet. Only the initial evolution chamber going down. This hive going to be a critical unit though if it does get killed off. There is no more Spire either. The Spire has been killed off. And so another Spire would have to be made. The natural base has been picked off too. This is looking like another GG for eonzerg very shortly here. As we can see, the Cattle Bruisers are just paving their way to victory. Scan coming out with an amazing game here. Bam! GG! That's going to be it for game number 3. Alright guys, this is a best of 9, remember. So 6 more games have to be won by Scan. So regardless of how well he's done in the first 3 games, picked up those initial 3 wins. This is what we saw from Scan versus Koget. Eventually it just Scan got a little bit lazy at game number 7 and lost to a slightly unorthodox opening. And is eonzerg going to be able to pull off something similar here as we go into game number 4? Let me take a quick water break here, see what people are saying in the chat, and then we will load up the next game and get ready to go. All right. Solid game so far. The first 3 so exciting. eonzerg. eonzerg is probably my favorite foreign Zerg player to cast. Every single game has been brilliant that I've casted of his. And, you know, I'm not trying to just overhype him. I seriously just have gotten good replays from him every time. And the consistency rate of that is awesome. So I'm very ecstatic. Of course, know that this is not a spoiler. I get 9 replays regardless of whether these games are won earlier. So I don't want to just remove my overlay, and which is why I'm just showing you my replay screen here. This is not a spoiler. Game number 4 underway. Oh, looks like we're doing a Fighting Spirit Circuit Breaker every other game map rotation here. Because that's been the trend. First game, 3rd game on Fighting Spirit, 2nd game on Circuit Breaker, and now we're seeing the 4th game on Circuit Breaker. Alright guys, at the top right hand corner it will be the Korean player Scan, and down at the bottom left it will be the Zerg player eonzerg. Guys, I am your host BisuDagger. This is the weekly number 8 Foreign Edition, which is Tuesday, the Foreign Editions. Meanwhile, Thursdays it will be the Korean Edition. Watch Mind, Zero, Effort, and Best. I believe that is the lineup for Thursday. Last week's King of the Hills, so fun, so good. I had a great time. Everybody seemed to really enjoy those games too. So I'm so happy to get positive feedback from everybody. If you guys want to leave me any messages, there's the BisuDagger and Friends caster thread on Team Liquid. Flash for the Win was possibly going to be able to cast with me at the beginning of this, and every once in a while I do get co-casters, but mostly it's been just me solo casting for a while. I think that Flash for the Win and I will probably be casting the next Korean League if he's available. If not, maybe it's going to be Cat's Paw. I would like for me and him to finally get a cast together. Cat's Paw is a great caster, a great analytical guy. And if you guys haven't heard him, he actually did cast this series. So I want to give all the credit to I Love Av to be able to cast this live. But for me, I don't want to cause any lag. So I cast from replays and do this on my consistent Tuesdays. Alright, that's enough of that. We're going to see the first we get the first Overlord out, and this is going to be 12 hatch opening, and the scouting Overlord heading up towards the top left here. SCV scout going to be most likely heading towards the bottom right based on that routing decision here, and yeah, the command center on its way. So there was an interesting thread on Team Liquid. If you guys didn't know, there was a discussion about how the art assets and the sprites were created. Oh yeah, someone shouting out Elmaster. Elmaster and I actually casted a long time ago, where it was me, him, and Nina doing a triple cast. Maybe it was for like a Sonic ranking tournament. I can't remember what it was. But man, if you guys remember eonzerg, she hasn't been quite as active lately. But eonzerg and Elmaster back in the day, those two were the best duo ever. And so Elmaster, and then what's the other guy who's been casting a lot of really silly games? I know that there's Proterides on Team Liquid who does some silly cast, and then Greth, I believe, is also casting with a huge following. So really important that everybody knows those guys. I'm not selfish. I don't need everybody to watch me. I just want you guys to be able to enjoy the StarCraft 1 scene. That's really what's most important. I hope you guys know that. But anyway, there was a discussion on Team Liquid over the 3D assets and how they're created. And what Blizzard actually did back in the day was make everything modeled out in 3D, and then they would port it into 2D. So that way they could quickly create the sprite sheets. So it's not like Pixar where they're just drawing every frame, because you don't know if you're going to need to change the sprite sheet to reflect a different piece of art. So if they decide they want to change the look of the Hydralisk, they can just change the look on a 3D asset and then auto-generate the sprite sheets. So this is, while it's a 2D game, it was actually all created in 3D when it comes to units. Now, I believe that buildings were just straight up 2D assets, and this is, you know, sprite sheet construction going on right here. Not as many variables that go into a building being created. But imagine when you make a sprite sheet, if you guys don't know, you have to have a run in the top right location, like you see from the Zerglings right here. Run to the bottom right, top left, bottom left. Of course, you could use rotation variables to use all just one sprite sheet for the run and directions. But rotation, stop, hold, patrol, attack, every single one of those is going to need its unique sprite sheet. A sprite sheet is basically like 6 or 7 images all stacked together, where it's like the slightest movement. So you have like your fingers here, and then your fingers here, and then your fingers here, like this. That would be like 5 frames, and then when you put them all together and play the animation, it would look like walking. It would look like my fingers were walking instead of just 5 still images. And so you'll play that, and they'll just time it out based on, I believe back then the target was 30 frames per second instead of 60 frames based on the older systems. And just try and actually it's really funny that they would do stuff like frame-based movement instead of time-based systems, because back then they didn't have relatively consistent timers. Oh, well, this is just getting into a whole nother session of education here. So let me just make sure I'm commenting on this game enough instead of going into my nerdy rants, because I love to talk programming and video games if I can in the background here. So the command center, the bunker, already completed here. As I mentioned in the last Circuit Breaker game, the bunker really important here because it's just such a wide opening. So it's easier to just kind of back defend here. towards the ramp. So Scan doing a great job there. He goes for a faster starport, and we have the factory already completed. So this is one racks. A couple more barracks are going to come up, but this is going to be a starport. And oh my god, this is just going to be fast science vessels and possibly the SK Terran style build where you get a couple science vessels and then go into dropship play also. So we're definitely going to have to keep an eye on that. But science vessels are so important right now because once the Spire does complete, immediately mutas are going to be coming out here, and Irradiate has to be researched. I mean, don't think that it's just a free spell right away. Okay, so the mutas are on the way here. We have, I'm guessing 6 of them on the way. Yep, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And so even with this macro hatchery, actually 9, I'm sorry, 9 mutas are going to be just done very shortly here and try and sprint their way across to the right side of the map. We see the initial science vessel is on its way here. The engineering bay coming up. It's going to be a late +1 attack. These barracks here. So, you know, the engineering bay not being done means that there's going to be a shortage of turrets here. And so this is going to have to be a really solid defense with few mistakes if Scan's going to be going for this opening. I love that Scan's not going for the same build in every game. In fact, there's been a completely different open and variation in each one of his games. And it should be studied in every game to understand the weaknesses and strengths that each one poses. These turrets are so late though. The turrets are so late. You can see that this science vessel doesn't even have the necessary energy for Irradiate here. And only just now are we seeing stimming Marines coming in for defense. So Scan's showing his first bit of weakness here as there's a good timing for eonzerg to come in here and do some damage. Mutas are playing out very great here. 11 mutas in total have gathered into this flock. The SCVs have been forced to leave the mining location at this natural base. The Irradiate does go down! Splits! 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 Oh no! Oh no! I would say that the splits not so good. So from 11, 2 mutas do go down, 9 mutas left, but there's still 9 mutas. So this is good. The mutas going to be able to stay alive. But you can see that they're half health mutas. 63, 89, 45. That Irradiate did some pretty powerful damage, and it's going to kill off this aggression. But this is the first time that we've seen Scan unable to do anything aggressively except for have a few vultures out on the map, but the vultures haven't done any damage. That sunken colony at the front has been pretty solid. eonzerg's a little bit later on getting his 3rd base here. He doesn't have one constructed quite yet, and he's going off 2 bases with a ton of lurkers followed up here. All right, let's look at this. The 28 drone count to 33 SCVs. And yes, putting my name together, BisuDagger does stand for, in the literal sense, Assassin's Dagger Dagger. That's the only difference is that, and if I wanted to be a complete correct translation, it should be Bisu Assassin's Dagger. That should be my true name, but that's a little bit wordy, right? I know that BisuDagger is redundant, but who doesn't love twice the Bisu? Let's be honest. Okay, so. You know, but, oh man, I'm gonna say something terrible. But if there were 2 Bisus, I mean, if we literally cloned 2 Bisus, then we'd have twice as many OSL disappointments as Protoss fans. That was my initial thought after having 2 Bisus, is how I would be twice as sad if there were 2 Bisus, just because he can't win OSLs. Oh my god, I'm so sick. What's wrong with me? There's that Shine thread. It's disgusting. It should be closed down. No one should be praising Shine for his return. Only Roro. I'm okay with Roro, even though he did do the same hatchery shenanigans against Bisu to knock him out of an OSL later on. Alright, let's get back from my temporary insanity here. 8 mutalists now. We've seemed to have lost 1 more muta in that flock here. The science vessel count getting up to 3 so far, and the Irradiates are going to be pretty solid throughout this game. The detection here, the detection is key. So with the earlier science vessels, you know, scans aren't even as necessary because he can push out. He doesn't have to worry about you know, getting those comsat stations and identifying where the lurkers are. His Marines are automatically going to be safe as he pushes out on the map. So the additional hatchery now at the top left here, and it's always crazy to me when you see that Zerg has to expand so far away. Okay, actually, I'm sorry. The 3rd base actually down at the bottom right, a 4th base here at the top left. Excuse me for misquoting that. So there are Scourge out on the map ready to pick off. And oh, the first Scourge do get a hit. Oh my god, 2 Science Vessels do go down. Thank god I did manage to click over and in the middle of my ranting here. I apologize there, but we do see that the 2 Science Vessels do go down. That was critical. Just trying to cut that count as low as possible because there were so many lurkers out on the map. We can see that there are 8 lurkers in total, going to be able to defend pretty well. 1 lurker at the top of the ramp here, and this is the best still so far that we see from eonzerg. But the tank count is coming out stronger earlier here. Oh, you dirty dog, you almost getting a 1 single pick off here, getting that less than or around half health as the mutants do try and poke in. Okay, so the lurkers have a great defense on the bridge. It's going to be hard because the mech units do not push across bridges very well. They defend on either side of a bridge, but getting across a bridge is a different story here. And so Scan, while he wants to, he can't push out as cleanly as he'd like to. He needs to make sure that he's got their irradiates ready and that his units can move across the bridge in front of the tanks here. Okay, so we're going to see a irradiate goes down. One of the lurkers gets killed off from tank fire. 2 more irradiates going down on the left side lurker flank here. And these tanks, so much range. Oh my god. But the Scourge are coming in here. 1 big flock. And only 1 Science Vessel does go down. That was a huge investment. Do 75 gas times how many Scourge were right there. So that just rather sucks for eonzerg that he didn't at least get 1 more Science Vessel inside that mix here. But again, he's got an additional extractor up here at the top, which is great. If only his drones... I think he clicked this extractor too early. This is the only reason why they're not mining, is because he clicked here when it was like on its last pixel of completion. And so he's not getting that additional gas. Of course, when he goes here to realize he needs to get his workers, to work. And now we're going to see the drones doing what they need to do. Meanwhile, he's had this extractor here for a while. 4 gas. A 4 gas eonzerg is not something that we've been able to see. Last time on Circuit Breaker, he did eventually get a 4th base, but it was there for so little amount of time that we didn't get to see the late game macro eonzerg that we know can compete against even someone with the likes of Scan and his strong Terran play. So 1-1. And in fact, we didn't see armor get upgraded as quickly on the Bioforces for Scan here, but we're seeing that he made it mandatory to get that +1 armor before he even started investing into the mech upgrades. Let's take a look inside this. In fact, he's going for double upgrades again. So that was a big red flag. Hey, these Bioforces, meanwhile, while there is tanks here, it's going to be all bio. There's not going to be an armory out for upgrades on the mech. All right, the Science Vessels moving up forward with this bioplague towards the right side. Is there a Nidus? Yeah, there is a Nidus. It looks like the Defiler trying to consume as quickly as possible. It is going to survive. It will be able to get a Dark Swarm up before the Irradiate does take it out of commission here. So that's really important. This Dark Swarm probably going to allow him to survive long enough to get another Defiler out. I wonder where the connection point is going to be, possibly inside the natural base here. So we can see the connecting Nidus Canal over there. Meanwhile, another Nidus Canal here at the top left location, so he can really ping pong back and forth to defend against Scan's constant army movement. And this is why, as a Zerg player, it is so fun to see the bases so spread out the way they are. Well, these Overlords going to get picked off. That's going to be huge. If the Overlords get killed off, this is going to be an immediate supply block here. And you know that these units are going to be so precious. The remacro is going to be really, really important here. As another Overlord does come out. He's losing Zerglings so quickly that the Overlords actually end up not mattering here. Oh, you can see that the Dark Swarms do go down, but he's not going to be able to get on the low ground here. In fact, there's no bottom flank either, so I'm kind of surprised here about what the use of that Dark Swarm was, as he just basically sacrificed that Defiler to go and engage as far as he did. Where are the units? Oh, another Defiler, some lurkers coming in. They can get under this cloud for defense if they need it here. But you can hear it in the background. So many tanks on the low ground, getting lots of massive hits from range distance here. And it looks like this top left base is eventually going to be taken out, and the drones are sent to evacuate. I wonder if he's just going to end up sending him over to this base here so they can start mining at this right side location. It might be advantageous for him to end up taking this low ground hatchery here. He's going to need 4 gas to be able to compete with the likes of Scan, who has been, oh no, now he is just able to get his 3rd command center here. That's important. So look, the main base running super low on minerals here, only 47 SCVs, so a low econ game for the late game for Scam. And in that sense, he just doesn't have a lot of SCVs here. And he's taking such a late 3rd base, which is also part of that low econ. And so this hatchery coming down here with the 4th hatchery, if he can supply this base location with enough military units to stop this heavy push that's coming out from Scan, then we'll suddenly see eonzerg in a great, strong position to win this game. But right now, we still, in 4 games now, including this one, we haven't seen eonzerg in a lead. We've just seen him compete very well. Oh, and including that science vessel just surviving right there. But 2 heavy dark swarms are going to be coming up. A lot of zerglings going to be engaging right here. But so many zerglings just taken out. Let's see, the zergling count is down to 29. 5 hydras, 4 lurkers, 3 defilers, 7 scourge. Just not a lot. Not a lot here to defend with. And so many units. 62 marines. 62 is astronomical. Unless a giant plague and a lot of hive upgraded zerglings can really engage on these bioforces, the defense just isn't going to be there. This hatchery should just be canceled. There's no way. Yep, it does get canceled right away. He's going to get his minor refund here and does take out that drone too. These science vessels are going crazy. When you have 8 science vessels, you pretty much won the game. I'd say 11 is your sweet spot where you're never going to lose the late game if you have 11 science vessels, especially with the upgrades that these Marines have. 2-2, so strong right now. Oh, the Scourge go! The Scourge going for massive kills off, but their magic eraser kills off all the drones first, so the drone count down to 27. That is just going to be absolutely punishing here, as there's no more mining at this bottom right location. There's no base at the top left, and this is going to be the last dash of units for eonzerg, as he's probably going to tap out in just a minute here, realizing that he doesn't have the unit supply that he needs. Oh my god, the science vessel count going down from 8 to 2. Reckless is Scan. Meanwhile, eonzerg taking the only base that he can at the 9 o'clock location. He does manage to survive. He has enough hatcheries where he can get drones up pretty quickly here, but he's going to have to sacrifice the military in order to get these drones. 29 so far. This is just nerve-wracking, as we know that I think that eonzerg has to get himself back up to at least 45 drones to be mining efficiently here across these bases. But unfortunately, we're not seeing that number grow up. 47 SCVs. Oh, the Zerglings getting themselves at the top location here, trying to disrupt the mining. An immediate lift. Oh, the Scourge ran into the command center. Talk about just anger here. Those were spiteful Scourge. They're like, look, if we're not going to kill anything, we're just going. Go for it. Oh, double dropships though, down at the bottom left. Happening so quick. Scan all over the place one more time. And that's going to be an instant GG after those two drop ships. All right, guys. Thank you for watching game number 4. We will be going to game number 5 in just a minute here. This best of 9 was casted by I Love Av live a couple days ago. But this is by request. I am casting this best of 9 myself. I thank you for those who donate to my stream. If you want to donate to Scan or eonzerg because you think that they're playing such great games, then you can use the link below. And please leave a message if you want to donate towards either of those players. Just say their name or something funny and their name if you want. And I will make sure to give that money to them. If you want to donate towards my stream, that's always welcome too. But you don't have to. I come back every Tuesdays and Thursdays for my weekly Dagger regardless. Just as long as there's at least one viewer, I enjoy you guys. The viewer count's been good. While the live viewer count is rough only because it is so late in the night or early in the morning for the people who would want to watch. My YouTube views have been pretty solid, so I really want to thank you guys who are watching from YouTube VODs. It is much appreciated. Alright guys, I'm going to have to go into a momentary break as I take care of the husky situation here. Alright. Delilah, what do you say? What do you say? You want to speak? Do you want to speak for your camera? Aw, she doesn't want to speak right now. She's being quiet. But she does like peanut butter. Peanut butter. She walked away licking her lips. She thinks I'm going to go get peanut butter. Alright guys, let me go ahead and let my dog outside, and then I will return to the cast. So please bear with me for just 1 second here. Alright, I return. Now, she will be wooing at the door, and so there will be a momentary break to let her back in afterwards. So, bear with me when I have to do that later. But, hopefully she just ends up wanting to hang out outside and stare at the sky. And, man, this camera seems just a little bit off in that direction here. Okay, so important, right? No, let's get back into this game here. That was my husky Delilah. My wife had that before she was even my wife, and love that dog. My 16-year-old dog Nick recently passed away. So sad, and we will not be filling that void. Just gonna entertain the husky for now. Alright, yeah, so guys who are coming in, this is a best of 9 eonzerg versus Scan. Scan has to win all 9 to get all the marbles. If eonzerg wins one game, then he will actually win the entire best of 9 series. So yeah, Scan has to win 5 more games. eonzerg has to win 1. And down at the bottom right, we are Neo Overwatch, by the way, and this is the foreign built map. So down at the bottom right is going to be your foreign player eonzerg, and at the top left, playing his main race this week instead of last week's best of 14, it will be Scan. I am your host, BisuDagger. Well, I welcome all of you who are just joining into this cast. If you guys have been here from the beginning, you guys are awesome, and I really do appreciate the fact that you guys enjoy this stream. Now, Scan has played pretty normal openings, or he's played a variety of really good, solid macro openings. eonzerg, on the other hand, I'm really surprised, because when watching Koget play his best of 14, and while 14 is a ton of games, he threw in a bit of cheese. He did something a little bit different in order to tackle his opponent. Now, we may not be seeing as much cheese from eonzerg, because guess what, guys? Zerg is really, really hard to cheese Terran with, especially a good Terran, not just a good Terran. It's hard to cheese a better Terran player when you're a Zerg player, whereas I think it's easier to cheese a Zerg player who's better than you. But that's all just opinion. That's conjecture, of course. But Vidar games, to answer your question, eonzerg only has to win one game in order to have won this best of 9. Okay, so the initial SCV is going to be coming out here. A nice fast scout. I like this. The SCV scouting towards the bottom right. All right, looks like I got everything locked in. Making sure that my microphone is on too, always important, and you guys can see the screen. And the spawning pool extractor standard 12 hatch opening one more time again here, guys. This is going to be just another replica of the first 4 games. But can eonzerg actually play to his potential and take a game off Scan? Has Scan gotten tired? We know that Scan plays relentlessly, tons of games, moved to South Korea to become the best that he possibly can. And I think that's a great choice. South Korea is truly the training ground area that you need to be in if you want to become the best player that you can. And, I got a random question to throw out there. Have any of you guys started playing the new Dragon Ball Z beta? I saw that it was available on the PS4, so I downloaded it. And I created a clone of Piccolo. And then since then, I haven't been able to actually play the game because the servers have been down. So if anybody has actually played any of the like Xenoverse games, I don't know what they're like at all. I've watched all of Dragon Ball Z, so I do love that. Although that was like back in middle school, so I can hardly remember any of it at this point. I do love Piccolo though. Probably my favorite character. Just because he's a giant green Yoshi. Okay, so we can see that the initial 4 Zerglings built out for eonzerg one more time again. He's going to use those to chase out the scouting SCV and just kind of examine the perimeter here. A couple Marines down at the front. And this is a opening where I could say you could get away with the bunker if you didn't want to build it. But if you do build a bunker, I mean, good God, it's going to be really hard for Zerglings to do a lot in here. So the bunker does go down, and they're not going to be able, the Zerglings aren't going to be able to get it unless they somehow butter themselves up like they did in that game number 3. That was insane when eonzerg was able to blitz inside that base. Okay, 8 Zerglings now. So this is different. This is way more Zerglings than we usually see from him and the standard 4. And so it was a good choice from Scan to go for that bunker early on. And Scan is just a staple player when it comes to static defenses early on in the game. He never loses the early game, except for, of course, the game 7 against Koga, because he takes so much care in defending his natural base after he does the expansions. Alright, and someone has an update from the best of 9 OP. And it says that Scan gets a bonus $75 if he wins all 9 games and $75 for winning 5 of 9. Wow. Okay. So that's some pretty good money regardless. I like that there's the bonus pool in there. Because trying to win 9 games is pretty tough. Especially if your opponent decides that they're just going to not play you straight up and cheese every time. I mean, the odds almost start to become in their favor. Because the number of and variety of cheeses that are available. So I like that there's the incentive to win your first 5, but then you can kind of breathe a little if you're Scan, knowing that at least you got some money in your pocket for winning the first half of the best of series. I know that they probably did something similar to that in the best of 14 with Koget, and they ended up playing all 14 games regardless of Koget's victory in the 7th game. Okay, so Overwatch is a unique map where you don't take the far third in TVZ. You actually take the closer third here. And the extractor actually coming down pretty quickly too. So a fast gas at the third base, 3 gases in total, and this is going to be a super high level muta play here. You can tell right away because actually I want to take a look here. I'm sorry, I want to take a look because the mutas are coming in right away, actually taking down these initial bioforces. eonzerg trying to win his first half of this best of 9 series with this 5th game. This is going to be huge. But Overwatch allows him to take the faster gas and be able to support a strong air muta play. And that's what we're going to be seeing here. 6 mutalists in total are alive. The bioforces have been eliminated. What's the turret situation? Only 2 turrets. So Scan's actually been pretty light on his turrets. He's got 2 up by his barracks, knowing that he's light on Marines though. And he's going to need a few more. I think that he's short 2 or 3 turrets though in this situation. We'll see though. It's possible that eonzerg wins this. It is really possible because of the map and the aggression that he's going from the air. With this +1 attack going to be finishing up in just another minute too. And then things are really going to pay off. There's no upgrade for the Marines in terms of attack or shields here. Or armor. And wow. So they run into that bunker, try and use the defense right there. But a lot of the Marines still getting picked off. Oh, eonzerg, you're losing too many though. He's down to 8 mutas, but it's okay. It's okay. Somehow he's overcome all the Marines that were on the low ground. This isn't over yet. It's a 5 racks play, so 5 Marines are gonna pop out at once if they do end up sinking up here. The bunker's still alive here too. There's still turrets out either of the economy bases, and so this is just gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough, but Scan might be able to battle his way out of this. I mean, we've seen games where like Hyuk looks like he's in a position to defeat Mong, and Mong with his high level Terran play has been able to overcome this kind of aggression before here too with the 5 racks available. So much damage comes out as long as he like instantly stims and tries to attack here. But we can see that the barracks are taking a significant amount of damage. Almost a half health. Oh! Don't know map well. GG. Oh! That's going to be it. Alright. So I'm going to say that this is actually a really, really tough situation for Scan. And almost like a sad conclusion. Even though eonzerg, I mean, let me just say there, eonzerg, great game, knows to take that fast third and get the extractor and go for mutas. But on the other hand, I'd say that's anticlimactic purely because of not knowing the map. No, I don't believe that. Who is Sumperk? Sumperk, you're not Scan, are you? Oh, I would say that Scan probably doesn't know Overwatch well because it's the foreign-made map and not the Korean-made map. And it's not one that's commonly played on Fish or Ladder. So, that could be a legitimate excuse there. But still, eonzerg's play and build order choice was phenomenal here. And he is able to finally take game number 5. And that's going to be it. Hey, he's won the series here. Okay, guys, hang tight real quick as I try and remember what games you will be seeing on Thursday. Let that play out to the end, right? Alright, let me load this up here. Don't run away, guys. Just one more second here, and then you guys can be free to go wherever you want. Thursday's cast. Thursday's 9:15 Eastern Time. This is going to be a fun one. I'm really excited. We have Zero, Mind, Effort, and Best all playing each other, and I'm not entirely sure what the format is, but I don't want to spoil it for me. So I have Labata, who is going to tell me later what the format is. But I already see right away that Zero versus Mind will be the first game that I will be casting. But then, of course, we will have Effort and Best mixed in, and all those players at some point will eventually play each other. So lots of good ZVTs and PVZs are going to be in the mix-up here. And then if Mind plays Best, oh my god, I would lose it. I don't know if that is one of the replays in there, but that would be an insane game too. Alright, guys. So, that's going to be it for today. Thank you so much. We only went, like, what, a half an hour overtime. That's the best situation possible for the best 9. And congratulations for eonzerg for being able to take a win off Scan. Again, Thursday I will be back. If you guys want to watch my cast, they are on YouTube for YouTube viewers. Thank you for making it this far and listening to me. Take care. I am BisuDagger. Let me switch over to the outro here. And I will leave you guys to it.